Okay, so um uh All in a Row is a play um by this theatre company that is supposedly it's about this couple and their son. He's about to go away to a residential home because he is a nonverbal autistic, and that's supposed to be a sort of funny, heartwarming, but also like gut wrenching, so sort of drama, comedy, realistic representation of this family life. And we have some issues with this. So just to start off with, like, some nice things, they don't say don't say that the character Lawrence has autism. It says he is autistic, so that's like cool, good. That's nice wording. And I believe everyone talking seems really sincere. They seem really sincere and really genuine. Like, they genuinely believe that this is a touching, realistic, and non-stereotyped, humanizing representation of an autistic person. And Alex Oates, the playwright, says that he's worked with disability for 10 years and that he really cares about it and representation. And I believe that he believes that. Like, he seems to be coming from a genuine place. However, after he says that, this is immediately followed by the revelation that the autistic character is played by a puppet. Okay. How is that good representation? I'm sorry. They're like, oh, well, there's things, puppets, like, they can just move and show expressions in a way that you don't get from a human actor. It's supposed to represent a real human being. If you can't get a human actor who can express real human emotions with just their body and no words, then I'm sorry, but you don't have good actors. I literally go non-verbal and I have to communicate with my body because I don't know sign language, my family don't know sign language, and sometimes I can't formulate sentences even when I type them out. So I have to use my physical expression to get my emotions across. I literally do this. There are literal non-verbal autistic people out there who do show their emotions with their physicality because that's their life. Like, if it was a dinosaur or a horse, then yeah, by all means, because a real horse can't show human emotions, because it's a horse, and dinosaurs don't exist. So, yeah, a puppet for that, where they can express emotion in a way that they wouldn't normally get, that makes sense. But if you are supposed to be representing a real human being, then puppetry doesn't work. And, like, this is all followed by, like, oh, sometimes we find that people sort of romanticize bad situations, or like bad representation of autism, like Rain Man, where it's shown as a superpower, or everyone's miserable. Hey, everyone's miserable in Rain Man. Like, that story is about Tom Cruise being sad his brother is weird and then becoming a better person because he learns that he can love his weird brother anyway. It's a horrible story, yes, and I agree, and I'm so glad they're bringing that up. But how is representing us as less than human puppets any better? It's and they're like, we're not falling into stereotypes. Like, at least we're not falling into, stereotypes about how people are normally represented, as if being represented as less than human is not something that all autistic people and all disabled people have to cope with anyway. Come on, guys. Like, so close. They're so close. They use the right wording. They obviously care about representation, and they want this story to not be like, boo-hoo, my child's autistic, even though it clearly focuses on the parents. It's just yet another story that focuses on how difficult this is for the parents. But they're trying to be like, oh, it's also good too. It's a loving family and a happy family. And I'm glad. And they're so close to getting it right. And then they're just like, how do we represent the human being who is based on real life people who exist puppet. Yeah, let's make it a puppet. Come on now! Like, I don't think that they don't care. I don't think that they're coming from a place of autistic people aren't people. But I really, really question their decision to go with a puppet. I'm autistic. I can act. I've been nonverbal. There are many of us out there. Like, just say, hey, we're looking for an autistic person to represent an autistic character. Like, you'd find autistic actors. They exist. They are out there. I have some other issues with it as well. I have notes. Like, I knew I was going to get emotional, and I know people are like, oh, you shouldn't be so emotional, because, like, as if being represented, like, as a inhuman, like, caricature of a person is something that one shouldn't get upset about. Like, the puppeteer, he's oh wait, no, I'll go back to they're talking about, Lawrence, he does some pretty, like, scary things. He does some pretty scary things, so it's easier to represent that with a puppet because it's somewhat displaced. That's the problem. Like, represent a real person doing those things that we are demonized for, and represent them as relatable, as understandable, as a reaction to an environment that is constantly painful for us. You could have made this easier. You could have made this a good representation. But instead you were like, puppet. Let's just make it a puppet. Actors can't express emotions with their bodies. They really should be able to. If you've got good actors, they should be able to express emotions with their bodies. Like, anyway, and then the puppeteer goes on, he's saying the Rain Man thing, and he says, it's like, this is a good realistic representation, because this isn't just a kid who can draw the London skyline perfectly, but not talk to his mum and dad. Guess what? He didn't come up with that suggestion out of thin air. He didn't. I know he didn't, because that's too specific. That actually is a non-verbal autistic man who did draw, like, the whole of the London skyline after flying over it once, perfectly from memory. Like, he just used an actual person who exists, who went viral in a video campaign, which was inspiration porn, and I have issues with that. But he literally uses a real person as an example of not good autistic representation. He exists! He's out there, living his life! Hopefully ignorant of you. And I'm like, the puppeteer seems like a genuine guy. All of these people seem genuine and like they really care. But they looked at real autistic people, they looked at real autistic lives, and they went, how do we best represent this to the general public who we might want to encourage to have a conversation about autism?